Hi, this is the Professional Amateur Hour coming to you with another review. This week I checked out Hundreds of Beavers, and this 2022 film was directed by Mike Keslick and stars Ryland, Tews, Olivia Graves, and Wes Tank, among others, of course. The story of this movie is that there's this guy and he loses his apple cider business and then is stuck in the woods. So he's got to like hunt and, find food or whatnot. And so he's trying to get rabbits and beavers and everything like that. And then once he does start doing that, he realizes he can make money that way instead. And so he does so. And it turns out that the person he's selling all these furs to has this daughter. And he promises the daughter's hand in marriage if he can bring him hundreds of beaver furs. And so then he's out there trapping it in quite comical ways, of course. And, will he make it to hundreds of beaver skins? Well, for that, you gotta watch the movie and find out. Alright, so let's discuss this movie. Well, with this one, I gotta tell you, it's like this absurd, abstract comedy. It's all done in black and white as well. So it is kind of like a unique movie that way. You don't see that too much, especially, coming from 2022. And it's also like mostly silent as well. There's very little dialogue, if any at all. And because it's this absurd comedy style that they have, it can be funny. We always say, comedy is subjective on this channel. And this one, I think some of the jokes certainly do work. I laughed quite a bit during this one, not all the time. Like everything is a joke with this one. Every, 5 minutes, it's just setting up a joke. And then the jokes come in threes as well, so it kind of repeats itself, with slight alterations. And it kind of seems like it's more slapstick or like Bugs Bunny. Like there's some gags out of this one that are like right out of Bugs Bunny. And so, is that funny? Well, like I said, I did laugh quite a bit. I did chuckle quite a bit. I would say, third of it's funny, third of it's chuckle-worthy, and then, a third of it's just kind of like, I can see what you're going for with that joke, but, but when the punchline is so kind of predictable, it's not that funny. And so they're certainly, trying throughout the whole thing. And so, yeah, the comedy, certainly absurd, certainly crazy, certainly interesting, and, mostly funny, at least for me. In addition, with this movie, I think the way it's kind of just presented to the audience is rather seamless. I was really impressed with that. There's animation that is kind of, overlaid and interacts with the characters. I thought that was, like I said, kind of seamless integration. Green screen stuff, seamless integration. There's a lot of things that just kind of go in it, and you can't even tell like how they made it half the time. And I just thought it would be so interesting to see, what the production process was on this one, but it's just so well presented. It's certainly cartoony. People are dressed up in these costumes, and it works. It certainly provides a visual aspect to it, one that you really kind of get into and just enjoy. Also, with this one, part of the humor I think also comes from all of the animals, and they're just in like costumes. Like they're clearly just kind of made costumes. And I thought that was just, part of the humor. And the costumes, I gotta say, work really well. They look good as well. You can tell a beaver from a rabbit, and you can see that they've taken the time to actually put care into making these costumes. And then the guy's costume itself is like, kind of a fur trapping costume, but I like how he has like the big kind of dead raccoon head on his head. And so the costumes, I think, also stand out in this one. And so there's lots of good things that just visually are very entertaining in this one. Let's see, what else about this movie? I think I enjoyed the progression of the story. I did enjoy that. It's kind of like a relaxed video game where, you go out, you harvest some wood, you trade it in for an axe, and that makes that easier. And then you trade it in for a knife, and now you can do some hunting, or all this different type of stuff that is certainly very kind of video game progression-esque. But I enjoyed it. It added for kind of a relaxed, you kind of know where it's going. He's going to get the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So it's just, I don't know, it's a relaxed kind of entertaining movie that way. And that brings me to what doesn't work with this one. Well, with this one, comedy is subjective, of course. So if you're not really into like Bugs Bunny-esque comedy, this is not going to work for you. I also found that the jokes, they always come in three, so you can always start to predict kind of the punchline for these jokes as they come along. And that is like, the first, I don't know, 30 minutes or so is just him in the forest kind of trying to trap things and failing, just like you would imagine from Looney-Tunes or whatever. And it does, I think, present a little bit of a difficult time to get into because the jokes are quite repetitive, especially if they're coming in threes. You see it at the same time 3 times. And actually, like, at that 30-minute mark, I was like, is this all it is? Are we going to watch like an hour and 50 minutes of this guy trying to trap beavers in the woods? And it does luckily become more than that, but at the same time, just the repetitive nature of the jokes at the start do provide some type of difficulty, I think, with this movie. And so ultimately, would I recommend it? Yeah, I think it is entertaining, it's fun, it's just something kind of goofy to watch, nothing very serious at all. And so it's one of those things where, a Monday night you can just watch it for 2 hours or an hour 50 minutes or whatever it is. And so yeah, try to press play on this one. As for a rating, well, I'm going to give it the good score of 7. I just really enjoyed this absurd comedy. And with that being said, I think that's all I wanted to say. So like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.